evening, America. How are we?
Look, we're
guys,
good. You started a little soon. You started a little soon, Luke.
I did. Guys, what I said was good morning, Australia. Good morning, America.
Good evening,
look,
America.
Right now. Good evening, America. Gosh, I really, I'm having blonde moments, man.
We're feeling.
So look, it's just the three of us right now. We've got Miss Katrina joining us very soon. We don't have our.
We're feeling a little lost tonight because we don't have, Jeffrey's not here. He's taking the night off because he's still not feeling well. So hopefully he'll be back with us next week. But yeah.
And Jeff always opens with a big story, like there's something always happening. And like, look, I'm quite happy to talk about this. We're going to get into that. And the fact that I've had jabs in the head, I really want to go over that with Miss Kitty Cat. And look, we've got some good stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Epstein and that little gross thing that was going on there and the arrests that have been made. We're going to talk about this huge spike in coronavirus because it's back big time. The sequel, I guess. And we're also going to, just kick it like we did old school, talk some rubbish. We may have Katie join us a little bit later as well. We're just waiting to see how she's doing. And also, James, what I wanted to talk to you about, and Vera, we're getting Jess on, right? I put the video up. So we got a psychic coming on, and she's very renowned. She's completely booked out right through to like past September. Somehow, for whatever reason, I must have batted my eyes the right way. She's like, yeah, sure, Luke, I'd love to do it for Uncensored Radio. So she's coming on 10th of July. We're going to air the show. She's going to read all of us. So that's going to be interesting. Actually, James, we should show the clip of Jess from Divine Readings by Jess.
Yes. Here we go.
Hello, Uncensored Radio community. It's Jess Quigley here. And I'm just coming in to you guys just to let you guys know that I'm very excited to be interviewed on an upcoming show. Luke and Jeff are going to interview me. I am a psychic. I am called a body, mind and soul coach, and I've been reading for people globally for the last 8 years. I'm super excited to come and talk to you guys in the next couple of weeks about all things spiritual. Luke and Jeff are going to ask me lots of questions about what it is that I did to get started on this spiritual journey. We're going to be diving deep on psychic abilities, and I'm actually going to be getting some of my cards out and actually doing some mini readings for you viewers. So please make sure that you find out when the interview is going to be hosted and make sure that you're jumping on, that you're interacting, that you're connecting. We are also going to offer one very lucky viewer a free over the phone reading with myself. So I'm super excited to talk about all things spiritual. I've also got lots to talk about in terms of other things that I do, like juicing. I have a Facebook page called the Green Juice Challenge. At the start of last year, I challenged myself to upgrading in body, mind, and soul. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. We're also going to be talking about another page that I run on Facebook called Boot Camp for the Enlightened. Luke and Jeff, I'm sure, have got lots of questions to ask me. So I'm super excited. So for all of you spiritual freaks out there, people that are into personal development, for everyone that wants to feel better energetically, emotionally, spiritually, anyone that wants to work on their mindset, please stay tuned for the awesome interview that will be coming up in the next few weeks. I'm super, super excited. So lovely to connect with you, Uncensored Radio community, and I will see you guys soon.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to have Psychic God.
I'm kind of excited about it.
I would love Jess to be our Miss Cleo.
I'm looking forward to it.
She's got to tell me some winning lottery number. I want to call it.
She can't do that, Vera.
I know.
She can't do that.
It's my life goal to call in rich. So, sorry, never coming again. Bye.
What are them lottery numbers? Miss Vera, so look, are you able to take us through the Epstein case? Because I'm Ozzy, I don't know a lot about it. I should know more. I also am a naive person. Obviously, I didn't know that it was evening over there. So yeah, I'd love to just know. So I know that his procurer, who is bizarrely is a female colleague. Like I guess it shouldn't be shocking, but it is a little bit more shocking, I guess, because it's not as common. Has been arrested in her $1 million property.
Well, there's Ghislaine is her name. She was his girlfriend and his procurer. And just to take you back a little bit, Jeffrey Epstein was a well-known local, supposedly financier. He was known to procure young girls for wealthy businessmen, known to be very tight with Donald Trump, very tight with Prince Andrew. There's actually a big allegation there he is with Donald and a very young, less Botox Melania. And Epstein and Ghislaine, there she is with Prince Andrew. And that girl in the middle was on BBC. She is accusing the prince of rape. And it was a very notorious blow up in the royal family about 6 months ago when Prince Andrew went on the BBC and disavowed any knowledge of this girl in spite of all these pictures of him with her. But
I remember that because we have a lot to do with the royal family here in Australia. Obviously, it's in the press a lot here, and I remember the Andrew thing was huge, and people were quite shocked and pretty disgusted. And
it's pretty disgusting, you know.
Well, it is.
Yeah. Of all there are like 32 women / girls who have accused Epstein of these rapes and prostitution charges. Only 2 were ever made to stick. The one, he ended up doing a 2-year sentence with like 18 months of work release. So he really only was serving weekends, very under sentenced crime, you know, especially when you think about the black mother who got 5 years hard time for sending her kids to the wrong school. And here's this man selling teenage girls to rich men for, 2 weekends a month, basically. And
how were they getting these girls? Like, what was the?
Well, that's Ghislaine. She did an interview with Catherine Ogdenberg, I think is the name. She's a royal cousin who was going to write a biography of her. And she explained how she would target these young girls, these pretty young girls who lived in trailer parks in southern Florida, like all of Florida is southern, but the southernmost part of Florida where she and Epstein were living at the time. And she would groom them. She would bring them in to work as masseuse for Epstein, and they would start giving him a massage, and then they would get more intimate in the massage. She'd start with clothes on and then clothes off. And she was there for most of it. And then she would start backing out of the room. And then he would become aggressive with these young girls. And then after he was intimate with these young girls, then he would start prostituting them out. That's how the interview that royal cousin, I believe it was Ogdenberg. I'm not completely sure of it. But the second arrest that Epstein had was the one that happened just after Trump was elected here in the Southern District of New York. And Southern District of New York is like pit bulls. They are out to get Trump on anything. And Epstein was in prison with that very suspicious suicide. And since his death, there's been a lot of speculation about where Ghislaine has been. She was supposedly hiding in Israel. She was also possibly hiding out in the Azores. That's been today, after at least 13 months of looking for her. They found her in New Hampshire or New England farm, 167-acre farm. And supposedly, if she cooperates, she's the witness that knows where everybody's buried, be it Prince Andrew, be it Donald Trump, be it ex-President Clinton, all the financiers. So as I was looking for pictures today for the show, I came across a picture of her with Michael Bloomberg. There's a picture of her at Clinton's daughter Chelsea's wedding. There's like billions of pictures of her with Epstein and Trump. I probably, could swing an axe on the internet and find more pictures of her with Trump. But yeah, if she cooperates, this is going to be big. And at the time of the Epstein death, there was all this speculation, did Trump and his people take him out? Did the royal guard take him out? Did he really kill himself? Because he knows where all the skeletons were and she knows too.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering then, she's probably in a lot of danger right now as well. As Whoopi was there, you in danger, girl.
Yeah. Well, that's why she's been hiding out. Wouldn't you be hiding out too if you thought they were going to come for you next?
No, absolutely. And I think it's disgusting, but I guess it's very indicative of the most vulnerable in our society, which are the poor, the lower socioeconomic people are the ones that get preyed on and are the ones without a voice to be able to, they've got no chance of standing up against these powerful people who have all this money and resources. They will be silenced so quickly. I mean, it's really frightening to think that there's this kind of darkness and ugliness in the world that goes on, and that it sort of is allowed to go on if you've got the money to keep it quiet.
Oh, yeah. The reason this entire investigation started was during the campaign of 2016. A young girl, probably in her early 20s, but came forward and accused Trump of raping her at an Epstein party. And she was ready to testify. And her life, she was under so many death threats that she went into hiding and she withdrew all charges and it just evaporated. And but the investigators that were investigating her case were able to come up with additional others. And that's how they took Epstein in 2018, I believe, is when he was arrested and subsequently died in custody.
Yeah.
But there's so many question marks over his death. I mean, even if he did kill himself, he should have been on suicide watch. And I'm sure, Luke, your hospital's the same as mine. If somebody's on a suicide watch, they're 1-to-1 for at least 48 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he was alone in that cell for an extended period of time. So even if he killed himself, somebody left him alone for 6 hours to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very
sketchy.
Exactly.
So hopefully this woman will cooperate and we can get the perpetrators, bring somebody.
Well, she may cooperate, but then you know what? She may just suddenly kill herself too.
Oh, that's entirely possible. Absolutely. And that's why she's been in hiding, I'm sure. Apart from not wanting to go to prison, she probably doesn't want to die.
Right.
Yeah.
She's made a ton of money. They said somewhere that the farm that she was living on was $4.5 million dollars. That's a big chunk of change for a hideout.
What do they say? Silence is golden, right? She was making lots of money to keep her mouth shut, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I guess the cat's out of the bag. She's probably got not much of a choice. I'm sure she'll probably try and not cooperate, but if they've got too much against her, who knows?
It might be a case, of her just needing to cooperate to keep herself safe. I mean, Epstein was not cooperating when he died in custody. He was keeping his mouth shut and, so.
Thinking he was probably protecting himself and was actually not.
I think that might be why he was on suicide watch, is because he was anticipating that somebody was going to try and kill him.
Yeah.
If just Donald Trump, President Clinton, and Andrew Prince Andrew are the tip of the iceberg. Imagine how many men have been through this ring of escorts.
And with very deep pockets, and obviously a lack of morals, and are quite happy to do anything it takes.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. It's actually like we're meant to have a fun show, but we had to talk about that. I think it's too big right now in the media.
Well, yeah.
And it's just one of those things where this stuff, hopefully moving forward, won't, the cockroaches will sort of be scared out by shining light on this situation and the fact that it's happening. And but I guess then these disgusting people sort of find new and more wonderful ways to keep it going as well, unfortunately.
Well, I know that I often come off as the partisan here, the liberal partisan, but this is a nonpartisan issue. Pedophilia is wrong, period. I don't care whether you're red, whether you're blue, whether you're purple. You can't use children. And 14-year-old girls are children.
And I think, the majority of people in this world, anybody with a shred of, of decency would want to see these people thrive for this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kitty Cat, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh, well, I'm not so good at all of this.
There's just a little icon there, girl. You've got to somehow enable that camera, but I can't guide you. I think, James, do you want to try and guide her while Vera and I wrap up this dirty old
I will.
Madam. What else is she besides a madam,
Well, that's exactly what she was. She's actually worse than a madam. She's like
a groomer. She's in the pedophile circle. She's a groomer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the fact that she was female and the fact they had this wealth, that's how they get these young people sort of interested in this kind of, even complicit in this kind of abuse, is that they're like, oh, maybe I'll have all these lovely things too, and maybe they'll really like me and my life will be better. And they're just being chewed up and spat out like gum. And it's actually the abuse is terrible and disgusting, but even it's so much more sinister in how these people operate and how they think they can just keep getting away with it. I think that's the scary part. They're so narcissistic and psychopathic that they don't have any regard for these victims at all.
Oh, yeah. When Epstein was arrested, there was an anonymous journal by one of the girls, and she talked about how when she first started coming to clean, they were paying her $600 a week, which is more money than her whole family lived on in a month. And every time she came, they'd be $600. And then they started to do the massage, and that was $1,000. And the money kept escalating. And when she was there was all this food that she could help herself to.
And these poor girls who have nothing.
Yeah.
It's the lottery. They think, oh gosh, I'm going to really be okay. And you're not, baby. They're exploiting you.
And they were deliberately targeting these very poor girls growing up in trailer parks, who were pretty and young and willing to try and find a way out, thinking they met a Prince Charming and their ship had come in.
Exactly. And knowing they come from these poor areas too, that they had no one that could really advocate for them, could they?
Right.
Yeah. Like they sort of were lost lambs.
Well,
it's easy to pick off.
Last week when we were talking about domestic violence, there's so many crossovers in the way abusers train their victims. They start building your self-esteem, and then they slowly tear it down, and you are absolutely groomed to be their victim.
And these girls too would have become also financially dependent in a way on this.
She talked about the girl that I read, and like I said, it was in 2018. It was 2 years ago. I don't remember a lot of specifics, and I couldn't find it when I was researching for the show, but she talked about going to the mall for the first time with all that cash in her pocket and feeling like Cinderella because she could buy more than one thing, and she didn't have to worry about what the price tag said. I mean, $600 in the Old Navy is going to take you a long way.
Yeah.
It's sad and terrible.
It's very sad. Yeah.
I know we've lost Miss Kitty.
We have.
I know.
Oh no,
For good,
Miss
or is she
Kitty.
coming back?
We
Well, as soon as Miss
technical
Kitty's
issues are
back,
real.
we're going straight into this.
The bow
But I
tie.
will wait for Miss Kitty for that one.
The technical
Look.
issues are real.
Yeah, they are, especially on a live show where we sort of.
I've been the
Anything
girl with
can
the
happen.
technical issues. Absolutely.
Yeah, look at you go now, Vera. Though.
I know, right? I bootlegged in Wi-Fi. Did I say that out loud?
You're not bootlegging.
Alleged.
You know.
Alleged. Look, I think we could just get straight into Corona then, because Corona has just gone crazy here in Victoria, here in Australia. I think there were like 77 new cases just in the last 24 hours. I don't know if you had.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
there you go.
Now, Victoria,
That's
where's
a
it?
lot.
Where's it?
Victoria is a southern state.
Okay, so you're the western side.
I'm the eastern side, so I'm northeast.
I flipped it.
Yeah, so Victoria's like south. So it's like the state over from like more towards the middle of Australia from where Sydney is, like New South Wales. But yeah, they've just had
a map of Australia.
maybe with the circle where we're talking about.
Luke is here.
So yeah, look, it's been kind of crazy with like how it's just exploded, because it was sort of, everyone was like, everything was opening back up. Like, look, Queensland's doing wonderful. We've opened up. Cinemas are back open as of yesterday. 100 people can dine in certain venues, all of this kind of stuff. So the world's getting back to normal here. That's why our Premier doesn't want to open the borders to states like Victoria, where now they're having a second wave of infection. At first, I was thinking, because at that time, all the infection rates were going down. But obviously, they're privy to a lot more knowledge than the general public are. And I'm sort of glad now she held her guns and said, no, we're going to stay locked down until it's no longer a huge threat. I know they're in negotiations now of which states can mix and whatever, but now with what's happened in Victoria, they're locking down suburbs. Like if you live in certain postcodes, you're not allowed to like leave your house, I think.
Well, when this first started breaking out in New York, Cuomo sent the National Guard to completely surround this one suburb on the Hudson River there. I can't think of any names today. I'm like brain dead. But they were totally surrounded by the National Guard because they were taking it seriously, and they had the biggest outbreak anywhere outside of New York City.
Yeah, and it's like the film Outbreak. Like, when they were like herding people into like buses and stuff, like that's kind of how it feels, and the fact that like you can get locked down. But I know it has to happen. It has to happen for the greater good.
It's not even happening here. I mean, I don't know if James wants to put up that map that I shared from New York Times today. The left is the cases in the United States on April 4th, and the right is July 1 today or yesterday. And look at that. Wow. Florida,
New York's
the Bible Belt, Texas, all the way to like North Carolina. It's just gangbusters.
And New York's actually doing a lot better now.
New York's not a single case right now, really. I think we've had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you shared an article too, Vera, about like kids in is it in Alabama, like young people getting together to deliberately infect each other.
That just made me nuts when I read that today. It was it's in Alabama, and there's college kids, and they keep you have to buy your way into the party, like $100 ticket to come to these Corona parties, and they're deliberately laughing, deliberately coughing, and whoever catches corona first wins the pot.
I actually, hold on. I have that article pulled up so we can kind of show it.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I mean,
You know what? You know, that's really scary. And it kind of reminds me, especially, do you remember, and I mean, it even happens today too with HIV. Like they say it's like bug chasing, kind of. People deliberately get infected. I know corona is something that probably the idea behind it's more herd immunity. Like if you're young and healthy to catch it, and then you build, antibodies to it. I hope that's what their intention is. But it's still a misguided, stupid one.
Yeah, if
you're going to give it to the old people.
You're taking it home to grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma's not going to make it. Your cousin who's got breast cancer, she's not going to make it.
Exactly.
Your niece who's got, autoimmune disorders, she's not going to make it. How can you be so selfish?
But here's my question. We knew that as this spread to areas that were less affected by it, we knew numbers were going to eventually go up. So it's like, how do we,
did we expect it to go up like this? I mean, I get that you want the economy. You don't want the economy to tank. I understand that financial concerns forced governors to take these radical steps. But if you were leading by example, if you were teaching people about proper hand washing, if you were making social distancing important, if you were modeling mask wearing, the president's the one that's been the most obstinate about not needing a mask. If you were just those three things, we could have slowed this spread and lowered this death. I mean,
right.
Do you think he's doing that though to sort of appeal to that voting contingency where you're taking away our rights, you're taking our rights?
They're all going to be bad. They're all the red states that I just showed in that second map. All those people, that's the this is from Johns Hopkins University. It's their daily coronavirus map, and this is the number of cases worldwide. And look at the blood red splotch that's the United States, just completely overrun. Yes, there are parts of Europe that are overrun also, and parts of China, but we have an entire country that's overrun.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. And it could have been so avoidable. There you go.
Yeah.
So confirmed in Florida. Look at the cases in Florida right now. And they're all new because none of them have recovered yet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 3,000 deaths. That's really scary. And remember though, Marie was showing like videos of people like partying and dancing in the water and whatever. It's sort of no surprise because all it takes is one.
Right.
Boom.
Well, that's what, Marie kept saying to her coworkers, save your money because this is coming back. And she was dead right.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing to look at that is that the total cases worldwide, we are 20%. The United States, 25% of the worldwide cases. We are 4% of the world population. That's ridiculous. One of the wealthiest countries in the world, we have this kind of pandemic and this kind of death.
Well, but can we consider, would this be what we would consider the second wave of it? Or is this?
No, because the first wave has never ended in this country.
Right.
This is just a wildfire spread. This is it started in New York.
I think we had it burned down a little bit and then it's just blown up big time.
It's a raging conflagration of sickness.
So what would be the answer to how do we get ahead of the curve this time?
I think without the national response, without any true national leadership on this issue, we each have to take responsibility for washing our hands, wearing a mask, and staying away from crowds. I mean, like I said, the 20-year-olds might be fine, but there are 20-year-olds that did end up on ventilators. And, I can't speak to Luke, but I haven't seen anybody die of COVID, but I have seen people die of respiratory failure. And watching somebody die from respiratory failure is worse than watching a fish on a dock gasping for air for days and days on end. It's a horrible, horrible way to die. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, and I don't wish it on anybody. But, you know, we need to be the voice of reason. We need to make sure that we are telling everyone we know to take care of themselves, to stay away from crowds, to wear your mask, always wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart, and wash your hands, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Angie,
and it's simple stuff, you know, to prevent infection.
Yeah.
And people, like, you know, it's not a fail safe at all, but it's just these little things that will slow it down. Because the big fear is, look, the thing is, it's not going away. But if it's not infecting everyone at once, then at least the people who are infected will get the treatment they need. If there's too many people infected at once, that's when the system becomes saturated. That's when people die. That's when you're nursing people in tents, you know?
Right. And in hallways and makeshift morgues and in the cafeteria, and you're throwing up a tent in the parking garage, and, you know, you're putting 6 people on one vent because you don't have enough. I read something today that said the ICU beds in Texas were at 103% capacity. That means that there are 3 more people sick than they have beds for out of every 100. So they're pretty darn close to throwing up a tent, you know, in the parking garage.
Basically, they're where New York State was 3 months ago.
Right. And Italy was 4 months ago.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And then I think because people don't see it, you know, that naivety is there where they think if I can't see it, well, then it can't really be that bad. Just because it hasn't happened to a loved one of yours yet, and it's not breaking out where you live yet, doesn't mean it won't. And you need to still take it seriously, because Florida is the perfect example of people going, oh, well, it's time to party again. And boom, boom. Look at those cases with no one recovered yet. We don't know what the mortality rate there's going to be.
Yeah, we have no clue. You know, and I was online the other night, and some young thing decided she was going to go at me. And she's like, this is all just political hack. You know, nobody I know's got it. Nobody I know's been sick. And it's like, well, you are just lucky at the moment, you know, because that's not how it's going to be.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, we have this story.
Oh, that's a sad
11-year-old
one.
who died from COVID-19 is the youngest recorded death in Florida. You know, I mean, nobody is. Sorry, I got a text message. Nobody's immune, immune to this. Like it's going to affect, even if you're not personally affected by it. This is still a big deal.
You are going to be personally affected by it, because there's going to be a food shortage. There's going to be an economic collapse. You know, if you get to the point where nobody can go to work in 15 states, you're talking about billions of dollars in lost income for all of the working class. You're talking about billions of dollars in lost income for tourism. You know, we're talking economic collapse. You may not know anybody who's died, but you're going to know somebody who's, you know, suffering.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
It's
exasperating. It's scary.
It's exasperating. It's frustrating. So many people putting their own health at risk. You know, it blows my mind.
Right.
How there are so many people that want to be so defiant against it. And it's like, I have a job.
Because it's against their rights.
I have a job where I work with the general public. I see different people, hundreds of people every single day, and I'm required to wear a mask. I'm required to wash my hands. I'm required to, do hand sanitizer. I'm required to do all of this stuff, and I continuously see people coming into my store not wearing masks, not social distancing, not doing any of that stuff, and it blows my mind how you can.
I think people need to get it through their head. I know it's a big thing in your constitution about your freedom because of the history there, but there ain't no freedom when you're all dead.
Yeah.
So it's not as though you're being locked down because they don't want you to be able to go to Walmart and do whatever you want to do. But the thing is, it's being done for the greater good, because otherwise you're going to have a country that's completely crippled by the fact that most of your population is going to be sick and or dead.
Well, every freedom comes with a responsibility. You have the right to free speech, but you can't walk into a movie theater and scream fire and cause a stampede.
Exactly. Dave, speaking of people, it's against our rights. I sent you the best image. I sent you the best image in Facebook. I know there's issues with opening things on Facebook, but
no, that's not so much of an issue anymore. Hang on.
Oh, good. Bring it up, because it's my favorite image right now. It's a meme going around.
Hold on.
And it's of the Karen couple with when they had
the ones with the guns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
This is my favorite picture right now.
Where did you
to your private chat? To just a message on Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Hang on.
You'll love it.
Those two, yeah.
Oh, hang on.
We thought we were in danger. We were afraid they were going to hurt us, so we got an AR-15.
You'll love this. Look.
Oh, Lordy.
It was just, it was pink flamingos just with money, man.
Yeah.
And still Divine had more style. She had none of their money. But that's my favorite image right now. It's just the best. It's going around everywhere. And there's also some Saving Private Karen, and it's her holding the gun. And I wish I'd actually thought to get some more together, because it's been the funniest shit for me to see. I'm just like, and then you got the people then saying they were defending their property. Well, look, they maybe I don't really understand this whole.
Yeah, but did they need to come out and threaten everybody? Was anybody on their property?
No, if there's someone banging on the door, then then have you gone? But it was like it was a spectacle.
Oh, absolutely.
It was Divine in that red dress holding that gun.
But we're all
they should have dressed up.
A germ because we're wearing a mask, but they're not afraid of anything with their guns. Like, come on, who's the bigger coward?
Right.
Crazy.
What are they gonna do? Shoot COVID away?
Exactly. You could probably. Oh, I won't say that on air.
You can say anything, Luke.
Well, it is uncensored, but some things just shouldn't be said. Look, I really wanted Kat to be here. I know she's had technical difficulties because I wanted to get into my Botox experience and the subsequent infection that's just. So,
now, is that a common side effect to the Botox? Did you get that?
Well, she asked me a couple of times. So because it's a toxin that's being injected into your head, it can stimulate, your autoimmune response. And so she asked, have I ever had a cold sore before? And I'm like, oh, look, yeah, like when I was 19. So this is going back a little while, guys, just a little bit. I was like, yeah, when I was 19, but I've never had a reinfection since. Sure enough, literally after I had the Botox injected, within an hour, the tingle started. That really,
the
herpy tingle.
I'm a herpy girl. I get the herp.
Look
at you without your face on.
I know. Well, without lighting. It's more so without lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it came up straight away, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. But also, because this is what I wanted to ask Kat as well, like, I've got such bad headaches now because there's so much pressure all around here. But my forehead line's gone because remember I used to have like 2 really big lines there. Go back to some old shows, guys, and have a look. It's completely resolved already. And they said it could take 2 weeks.
You know what, honey? I love you. Cry me a river, okay? I got going on. This little 11 lines.
I wonder if should I consider Botox?
Well, we could have an uncensored special where we all film ourselves getting stuff done, and then we just upload it as like a documentary. So Vera, so you're concerned about your vagina neck?
Yes,
Oh
I'm
my
saying we're
God.
like Trump here. Gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm more worried about
Now I know why all
I
the
need my
women
septum fixed. What would you have done, James? Would you have? So you're saying Botox, maybe?
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely Botox.
Hmm.
I have like a face in my forehead.
Yeah, we'll just get it in there. Because look, I'll do that now. I'll furrow my brows. We saw how like strong my lines were, and now when I do it, nothing.
No movement.
Nothing.
None.
But then you're going to end up like those old movie stars who can't smile with this.
That's amazing. I hope so. I hope so.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. I'm like Meryl Streep in Death Becomes Her. I'm quite happy to be, showing up just plastic and the other. Falling down the stairs with Goldie Hawn. That's my dream.
I want a little facelift with a chin tuck, and I want to buy a pair of boobs one of these days. If I get to call in Rich, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, if you're calling in Rich, so when we do the psychic special, we will ask, will Vera get her new boobies and call in Rich?
That's right. Forget Prince Charming, he's gone.
We'll actually get it because when they cut the cards, the tarot cards.
Yeah.
We'll get her, be like, okay, this question relates directly to Vera's boobs. And then, you select which deck you want. And you never know what could come out.
Wow.
Excuse me.
We're pretty sure what won't come out.
Oh, gosh. But no, I'm really looking forward to that. So we've covered corona. Well, we covered my Botox thing. I did find an article because I work in the medical profession. I really wanted to know, is it normal that I got a hair?
Well, I was going to say, wasn't that in your...
wrong one.
Oh, that's the young people.
Alabama people.
Wrong one. Hang on.
Was it in the pre...
Yeah, I went and found a medical journal that did correlate that you do get... Oh, no, it's one of them, though. That was a guy getting jabbed in the head, which is beautiful. I'm needle phobic too, but somehow I just copped that needle. I had a flu shot yesterday at work. I still got the Band-Aid on because I'm just so terrified of...
Oh, okay. I found it, but I didn't...
You need to take that Band-Aid off. They're only supposed to be on for 20 minutes.
Oh, shh!
I missed the upload, so
You're going to develop a latex allergy.
Okay. You got it, James?
Give me just a second.
You're right.
It was one of the uploads that I missed, so hang on.
It was not in your pre-op paperwork?
There you go. So, yeah, I went and got it.
2 patients out of how many?
So if you got the herp and you get Botox, you could end up like me.
It's not disfiguring, my darling. It's just a temporary blemish.
It's resolving.
Not from one of the pictures that Luke sent me that I feel is a little too graphic.
Because this is what I was worried about. I was like, am I going to end up like this poor mofo?
I feel like it's a bit graphic to share. So,
I think it's fine. It's medical. It's informative.
Hold on, we're gonna give a little bit of a disclaimer here. If you are squeamish or whatever, turn away now.
Or if you're eating your dinner still, if you're having a late dinner, or you're having a lunch here in Australia,
doing whatever,
herpes nightmare.
Be warned. It's kind of a graphic image.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I was scared of. I was like, is this going to be me? Is this going to be like my karma?
Extreme.
Not gonna lie, for a minute.
I am.
The bottom of the face, Luke, and like the chin and like the facial structure.
You thought it was me.
For 2 seconds, I thought it was you. I was like, when did that happen?
You bitch.
I'm
But did you feel bad? No. I want to call this bitch out. When you thought it was me, did you have genuine concern, or were you like, be honest, James?
I thought it was you. I thought it was kind of funny.
Your silence
Yes, exactly,
me.
bitch.
But
No more dollar McChickens for you, bitch.
I am very prone to the herp.
I would have a genuine concern if that was a very real thing for you. I would have concern.
Well, it would be concerning of me doing the show because we'd have to have me like with like a blur on.
You'd have
like,
so much makeup on. You would have so much makeup on trying to cover that.
Oh, it'd still look terrible. I'd look like I'd been in like an explosion.
Yeah.
I'd look like Meryl Streep at the end of Death Becomes.
I am very prone to cold sores, and I get them on my upper lip and under here. And they're usually about the size of that little tiny thing on your lip.
What I was treating them with? Because I've been told
I'm going to tell you
things.
my horror story. When I was doing home care, I did a lot of senior citizens. I would go into a lot of homes. I would talk to these great old farmers and these great old, housefraus, and they would tell me, oh, back in my day, we treated this with saltpeter and blah, blah, blah. And I had that little tiny cold sore on it. And this one sweet old lady said, oh, you just need to take an old tea bag and you put that right on, it'll be gone in an hour. Oh, yeah, because I've, used other home remedies.
Well, I was told corn flour.
Well, let me tell you, I put the tea bag on my lip and it spread.
You know what? You would have got the virus all over the tea bag and then been rubbing it around your face.
That's the last old remedy I take from some old woman.
Yeah, we should quickly say the actual medical treatment you will need a prescription from your doctor is a cyclovir. And that will clear up the herpes.
Don't use a tea bag. Do not.
And we're also not making fun of it either. Like,
no,
herpes is a very serious condition. We're not trying to make fun of it. We're just being very lighthearted with the fact that Luke has a cold sore on his lip after getting Botox. Like, it's, so don't read. We're not trying to.
I think it's kind of is it irony that like my vanity has actually caused me to have something that would really trigger.
It wasn't this big.
That's true, and it wasn't down my neck like that poor guy. But a cyclovir, guys, is the medicine that you'll need, and it will work very well. And usually, if you go on an oral dose of it, but you can get it in just like creams. And the brand here that's quite popular is Zavirax. You can just topically put it on, and it will help clear it up.
It's all over the counter. You don't even need a script for that.
Now we're advertising medications, So
yeah, why not? wherever we can. Get it where we can get it, okay?
If you want to sponsor, uncensored radio, you can get an advertisement just like that one.
Yeah, we can do before and after of my herpes getting cleared up.
Hit us up.
Use the tea bag.
Hold on, I got to make a banner real quick.
I've got to tell you guys as well, because I was very. There we go. Yeah, email us. Send us anything too. Send us content. We love to just talk about anything. Speaking of content, James,
anything.
I know you all love Kev, cooking with Kev, so I thought I'm going to bring him back. So I've just I've edited a video I did yesterday. You'll love this one, Vera, because he's getting quiet. What would you say?
Are we going to preview it?
I think let's preview it. He's getting Mexican. Vera, you'll love. I think run it, man. Go on. We've lost Kitty Cat. Totally. Put up a disclaimer quick.
Hang on. Hang on.
Kev is satire, and he doesn't represent the views of Luke Shaw.
Or Vera Carbajal.
Or James Hankins.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me set this up real quick.
All right, you set it up, and we can. All righty.
All righty.
This is not working in my favor here. before we get started, let me throw up our little disclaimers real quick.
Throw them out there.
Just so everyone's aware.
And people, this is comedy and this is satire. Just keep that in mind. Oh, gosh. And I need help.
Well,
it's time for Cooking with Kev. G'day, fellas. Kevy here. I was just down on my favourite poker machine, more chili, and it inspired me. Kev, why don't you do a Mexican feast? I went into the bottle shop, right, and Cheryl serves me. Because I'd had a few drinks, we're playing on the pokies. She's like, Kev, you know the rules. I can't serve you while you're intoxicated. I said, Shirley, don't you start on me today. You know what I've been through. You know that Raylene's got Victoria right now. You know it's killing me in here. You know. And she said, Kev, just take the tequila and get out, mate, before I call security. I said, thanks, darling. I'll see you tomorrow. So buckle up, boys. We're going to have a Mexican fiesta. I'm sure you got this all on the rim. Oh, have a good time. The angel. The angel.
I need help. I understand. And I haven't even got to what he's cooking yet. But I'll tell you now, it's a bag of chips with a pot of salsa just dipped on top. Because Kev's on a budget, man. Kev's, he's doing it tough during COVID.
Mexican food is the cheapest food on earth. You got rice, you got beans, you got hamburger. Come on.
Well,
that's one thing. I miss all the food over there. I so do. And I'm so, I don't think we can travel now to 2021 out of the country.
I know, which is a good thing because I think Trump's got my passport and he's never given it back. I know.
I need my passport. I need to make sure I still have mine.
Well, I
miss Wendy's.
I was supposed to go to Portugal this June to sing with a choir. I sing with a couple of choirs in my lifetime, and this one was going to go to Portugal and perform over there. And our trip got canceled. But back in February, I realized that my passport had expired. So I sent all my documentation, because you have to send the originals, and my application down to Washington. They cashed my check, and then they closed down all the government functions, and nobody knows where my passport application is with my birth certificate, my passport. I have no documentation right now.
Oh, no.
But with our passports here, like Buffy's passport, my daughter's passport is a picture literally of a baby. Because I had her passport done when we went on a cruise. We didn't even leave really Australia, but because we were docking at a couple of islands, you needed one. So hers is just like a photo of a baby. I could literally be traveling with any child and say, yeah, that's her. That's her. How are they going to prove it? The eyes change color. The hair changes color. There's nothing there to identify really that it's her. It's just a baby. And she was sick that day too. So when they because they lay them down on the ground to do the baby's passport photo.
Yeah.
Click, click, click. So she's like this in the photo,
That looks like my passport photo.
It doesn't even.
My first passport photo that I got taken 20 years ago was a really great picture of me.
And me too. I look so hot.
I look so cute. And the passport photo that they took in February is like this.
Maybe they're doubling them as mug shots now.
Yeah.
Because my last one too, it's hideous. It's I don't know what they did. It's almost the picture's off center, so it looks like my head's a little bit my jaws are so. And I'm oh well, that could be anyone too.
The difference is when I was 20 years ago, I was like, oh no, take that again. Oh no, take that again. This time I was like, whatever, come on, how bad can it be?
Well, what did Jenny say when we did the show with the sex workers? She's like, really, like, you know, every time when we're in these bodies, we keep criticizing ourselves and we're saying, oh, like, you know, I wish it was better. And you're looking on Instagram and you're like, oh, I don't look like that. And she's like, but every time then, like, you know, and when we're 80, it ain't going to look like this. So just love it now. Love it for what it is. And, you know, eventually it's just not going to be whatever it is now, even for the people that are the body beautiful. We just exist in something that's our vessel, really.
Well, one of my big life lessons in this world was there was a girl that hung out. She was like a year or two younger than me, but she hung out in the same crowd that I hung out with in my 20s. And she was a dancer, a classically trained ballet dancer. And I thought she was one of the most beautiful women on earth. I thought that if I could go down to JCPenney's and just buy a figure, I would buy hers. And I thought she was gorgeous. And she moved away to start her dance career. And like 15 years later, she came back. She got chin implants. She got cheek implants. She got boob implants. She got butt implants. She did not look like the perfect figure that I thought of in my 20s. And I just thought, wow, if she's not comfortable in her body, why am I stressing about mine? You know what I mean? She had the perfect figure and she spent all that money to get it changed.
Right.
We're all our own worst critic, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I mean, look what I've done to myself. But you know,
Fine, honey.
But, you know, like people really are like we sort of, I guess, but it's just kind of how society's conditioned us too, is to always strive for more, you know, whether it's money, whether it's looks, whether it's fame, whatever it is, you know, this society that we live in, especially in the Western world, it's really like making you want more, 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 more. That's why when I love when I go and see like other cultures around the world, like there's this different sense of community and different, you know, things can be so different. I don't know, like I am all for capitalism, but there is the downfalls of it as well. You know?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Definitely.
is it capitalism or is it just plain old, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Shallowness. Is it really capitalism? Maybe
It is.
shallow.
Absolutely. And it's this, and, you know, especially like in our Western cultures too, like we've really glamorized celebrity culture. It went right back to like the old movie star days. And, you know, but people needed that. You know, people needed that fantasy, especially I think during the depressions and those wars and that, where, you know, they needed something nice to hold on to. I think nowadays now it's become toxic. You know, I don't think, for some reason, and maybe it's just me, I get like a bad energy when I see stuff like the Kardashians and people flaunting money and showing how wonderful their life is. It's almost like they're rubbing salt into the actual real population of people who, let's be honest, most of us are poor.
Kardashians. Do not get me started on the Kardashians. I cannot stand those bitches.
Which one do you hate the most, James? We want a name and quick, go.
My favorite Kardashian would be Khloe.
Mine too.
My least favorite is all of the rest of them. I cannot really, I don't like any, like I, you know, like I have the same level of disdain for Kylie.
Okay, wait. I've got a scenario here, guys. Okay.
Courtney, I kind of like Courtney. She's always.
We've got Kim hanging over a volcano and Caitlyn Jenner hanging over a volcano. Who are we saving?
I think we're going back for the nachos with Kev first or Kev half. What is it?
Yeah.
Have a think about it over a margarita. Hey?
You gotta think about that one.
Oh gosh. Well, you know what, guys? I've really enjoyed it today.
Either.
We will be live on Tuesday night, just so you're aware. I know the last like 2 weeks we haven't done a live show Tuesday, and you know we've had some technical issues. We've had some things going on behind the scenes, but we will be live Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Tuesday in Australia. Tuesday night. We have a great show planned. We don't know who's going to be there, but we will have a show. So. And
we've we've got the Psychic Special airing Friday night. Your time, right, guys?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So it'll be airing Friday the 10th.
on
And,
youtube.com/uncensored radio.
And we'll obviously link it, and we'll link the live premiere on the page as well. I see there's people liking and sharing. You can win a free reading with Jess, guys. I didn't mention this earlier. She talked about it in the video. All you got to do is like and share either promo, the picture or the video that she did. I see that it's happening now a little bit. I don't know whether people realize, because she's so fully booked and she costs a lot of money to get a reading from. So it's actually a great prize. So like and share that video and get it out there, because there's not many people in the draw right now. You got a pretty good chance of getting a reading with Jess. So get in there.
Are we announcing the winner during the show on Friday, or are we going to do that at a later time?
No, we'll announce it on Friday. Look, and I also want to sort of just throw it out there too. I would love to have a couple of callers come in on that show, just like as guests. So if you are one of the people who've liked and shared now, you may get to be featured on that episode and get like a quick tarot reading, because she did say that she's happy to do it for a couple of listeners while we do the show. So we will, if you've liked and shared, I may send you that link to join us for a small section of the show.
Well, I'm going to be a bitch in this one, and I am getting a reading first. I had to have like scheduling changes done at work to make me available for that show, so I get one first.
Look, you're going to have to argue with Jeff over that, because I reckon that bitch wants it first.
No,
Jeff will be like, me.
I get to be one of the first. I don't have to be the first, but I get to be one of the first.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm happy to go last, because I'm always last.
Oh, whatever.
You're not always
but it was good to kick it with just us three guys. We've never done it before.
We did fine.
Yeah.
We muddled through.
And
and Jeff,
we lost Kitty Cat. It's an unfortunate thing, because she would have loved to have delighted in my Botox.
About your Botox.
But we can do it again. Hey, I can get more work done.
Technical difficulties happen. We don't know where in the world Katrina actually is, so she's traveling somewhere, doing whatever kind of work. Traveling for work is what I meant to say.
At least Trump gave her passport back, hey Vera.
She's not Mexican.
That mofo.
Deport me.
God.
Oh my God. But Jeff,
love you guys.
We love you.
Oh, can we show that video of Jeffy falling down quickly?
Our missing leader.
We need you back.
Yeah. Can we close the show with watching him? There we go. Oh.
There we go. That's probably the start of his boo-boos. Our poor baby.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah. Good night.
Have a wonderful time.
Good night. We
Bye.
will see you live on Tuesday.